All right, so I thought I'd try to save some people some time on a brake change for a 2013 Ford Expedition four-wheel drive. These are the rear brakes, pads, and rotors. This is just at the tire after the tire comes off. Once you get the rim off, on the back side, you have two parts to the caliper, two bolts to the caliper. You have this main bolt here that attaches to the frame, one on the top, and then another one down here on the bottom. If you're changing the pads and rotors, you don't need to take those off. I suggest just leaving those on. The caliper has its separate two hex nuts that are covered by plastic caps. Right on here, here's the top one. You can see this little rubber boot. There's a plastic cap that goes on top of here. And you can see the hex nut inside there and one on the bottom. These bolts are 18, it's metric, it's 18 millimeters. And these hex bolts here, you need a 6 millimeter hex wrench for these. So then what you do is you unscrew both of these. I recommend doing the bottom one first so that way it hangs. You'll probably have enough pressure from the pads though that it's not going to come off anyway. So you unscrew both of these bolts here. That's going to allow the meaty part of the caliper to come out. And then you might need to tap it with a hammer or something to get those pads free from the rotor. And then that's going to separate just like this. And then you got your two pads and your rotor. Some people disconnect that brake line right here. I don't recommend doing that because then you're breaking that seal. What I prefer to do is just go up to the front and then I just take the cap off the brake fluid reservoir, so then that way it relieves the pressure. Because now what you need to do is, I'm going to bring the tire over here so that way my caliper can sit on it and not have a lot of pressure on the brake line. Now what you need to do is you got to get the caliper piece to squeeze back in there because now as the pads got worse and worse, it's squeezed. So I'll show you an easy way that I do that. I use the old pads and I just put them together just like that. And I get a C-clamp. And then I put the C-clamp on there. So that way it's sitting right inside there, and then I just use the old pads. And then just be careful where you're connecting it to. And then just little by little, give it a little turn. And then what will happen is you'll start to see that caliper going in. So give me just a second. I gotta set the phone down. All right, so now I have enough tension on there that what I'll do is just like not even a quarter turn at a time, just start twisting this C-clamp in, and you can already see the rubber gasket starting to collapse, so that means the arm is getting pushed back inside the housing. Just do a little bit at a time. You don't want to force it. And then what you'll end up seeing happen is that fluid is getting pushed back up in the reservoir. So even though the fluid reservoir looked like it was empty, you'll see once that this gets pushed all the way back, that reservoir will be full. So now hand tight, it's got it as far as it can go. Now you can see there's, we had probably 3 rings of rubber. Now there's just the one. So that's pretty much it. So what I'll do now is I'll take these pads off. I'll Put some brake quiet grease on there. Spray the pads and the rotors down with brake cleaner. Make sure you get the factory film off of that. Put it all back together. And then the only other thing you'll need to do is, you remember when you put this back on here, you'll see these lips on the bottoms of the pad. Those will need to get that lined up with these grooves on here, but it should fall in pretty simple once you line it up with the holes on the back. And then in reverse order, you just put that all in. So again, 6mm hex screw or hex nut wrench on these. If you do decide you want to take the whole caliper off, which as you see you won't need, then 18mm on that. But I've already kind of taken a sledge to make sure that this rotor was loose. So there's now the rotor off of it. You get down to the shoes underneath here. And again, you see there really wasn't a need to take that other caliper piece off. And then these look okay. I'll spray some brake cleaner on there, get that clean, and then put it all back together. So there you go.